Rick, let's start with you. Wow. Wow, what news? This blew me away. My phone has literally been blowing up for the past 24 hours. People asking my thoughts. I'm really looking at their statements, but also just really the vision. I guess it's just a lot more money, a lot more liquidity. That's what I'm guessing, and a lot more exploration. But what else?
Yeah, I'd say 1+1 is 3 is what we're going for here. So just for process wise, Contango ORE will be the surviving company. We'll basically double our share count from the current 15.5 million to 31 million shares. So it'll still be a very tight structure. We have 100% support from our big shareholders. So Eric Sprott, Alieska, our big shareholder, Franklin, they're all very supportive of this transaction. They see the true synergies. A lot of times mergers happen and you're kind of left scratching your head. Well, what's an asset in Nevada got to do with an asset in, Nunavut? And typically there isn't any synergy, and it's just smashing two things, bigger for bigger sake. That's not the case here. These are very synergistic, and we'll be generating from our Manh Choh operation about $100 million of free cash flow a year. So I would describe that as a rocket ship, and we're both really excited. As I think a number of people have pointed out, we have very complementary skill sets. So I think we're creating a new platform here for shareholders to invest in gold and silver, safe jurisdiction, North America, with lots of exploration upside.
Happy to be on. As Rick was leading Contango in Alaska, becoming a dominant producer, developer, explorer, we were simultaneously building a very successful business, becoming the dominant player in the Golden Triangle. And, our business model was building mineral inventory. Producers deplete inventory. We were trying to replenish it. We were doing it at a time where metal prices were a fraction of where they are today. So we accretively, through acquisition and through discovery, built up a very, very large land position, secured 5 past producing high-grade silver mines, and a very, very large high-grade silver and gold inventory.
Here with my friend with Contango ORE, Rick Van Nieuwenhuyse. And I'm also my friend with Dolly Varden Silver, Shawn Khunkhun. Rick, let's start with you. Wow. Wow, what news? This blew me away. My phone has literally been blowing up for the past 24 hours. People asking my thoughts. And I had thoughts and I actually held off. But I'm really actually myself, this is not investment advice. I'm really, really intrigued and becoming very happy with this deal. But walk me through this. We'll start with you first, Rick.
Yeah, so Shawn and I decided to merge the two companies, and with the support of our boards and our major shareholders. So Contango brings production and a portfolio, two assets that are on a advanced exploration development timeline. And what Shawn's company brings is silver and a similar high quality asset in the Kitsault Valley. It's a large land package. It's in premier part of the world, being the Golden Triangle. It's just, probably one of the world's foremost exploration areas on the planet. So putting these two companies together, we've got production from Manh Choh. We've got now 3 advanced exploration development stage assets that have defined resources of high grade gold and silver. I think by the time the companies are put together and Shawn updates his mineral resource with the somewhat 200,000 meters of drilling that he's been doing the last several years, we'll have a company that's going to have well over 3 million ounces of gold and gold, or I say express it as gold equivalent. Or if you look at it as a silver company, it's going to have over 250 million ounces of silver equivalent. So when you put those things together and you look at the timelines to get these things into production, and then we'll call it just 5 years, a 5-year plan. I used to say we had a great 5-year plan. Now I'm saying we have a great 20-year business. And it's high grade, it's in North America, We've got $100 million. The combined company will have over $100 million US in the treasury, and we'll be generating from our Manh Choh operation about $100 million of free cash flow a year. So I would describe that as a rocket ship, and we're both really excited. As I think a number of people have pointed out, we have very complementary skill sets. So I think we're creating a new platform here for shareholders to invest in gold and silver, safe jurisdiction, North America, with lots of exploration upside.
Excellent. Okay, so Rick, before we get to Shawn, just comment real quick and briefly here for the sake of time. Narrow that down. What should Contango ORE, and I am a shareholder, what do Contango ORE shareholders, what should they expect, if you would, not only the assets and the skill set that Shawn brings to the table, what else can they expect, really in looking at their statements, but also just really the vision? I guess it's just a lot more money, a lot more liquidity. That's what I'm guessing, and a lot more exploration. But what else?
Yeah, I'd say 1+1 is 3 is what we're going for here. So just for process wise, Contango ORE will be the surviving company. We'll basically double our share count from the current 15.5 million to 31 million shares. So it'll still be a very tight structure. We have 100% support from our big shareholders. So Eric Sprott, Alieska, our big shareholder, Franklin, they're all very supportive of this transaction. They see the true synergies. A lot of times mergers happen and you're kind of left scratching your head. Well, what's an asset in Nevada got to do with an asset in, Nunavut?
Mhm.
And typically there isn't any synergy, and it's just smashing two things, bigger for bigger sake. That's not the case here. These are very synergistic, and I'll let Shawn explain at not only the asset level but sort of the corporate level what those implications are.
Yeah, Shawn, please, to all my viewers and listeners, Shawn Khunkhun from Dolly Varden Silver is on right now. Shawn, let me know your thoughts. Walk me through this. Same question. What does this mean for Dolly Varden's shareholders? What does this mean really for Vision? And what does this mean when you guys are merging both of the companies from your point of view?
Yeah, Andy, good to see you. Happy to be on. As Rick was leading Contango in Alaska, becoming a dominant producer, developer, explorer, we were simultaneously building a very successful business, becoming the dominant player in the Golden Triangle. And our business model was building mineral inventory. Producers deplete inventory. We were trying to replenish it. We were doing it at a time where metal prices were a fraction of where they are today. So we accretively, through acquisition and through discovery, built up a very, very large land position, secured 5 past producing high-grade silver mines, and a very, very large high-grade silver and gold inventory. Now, the challenge I face is to move the project from exploration through development and into production. And as I started studying different options, I came across Contango, and I came across the direct shipping ore method that Contango has used. And now I've been in the business for 20 years. There are discoveries that were made when I started that are still not in production. And so Rick and the team at Contango have leveraged this model where they're able to take some projects in a 2-year timeline for lower capex, right? Straight into production, and it lowers the permitting times. And so when Rick and I, we met about 10 years ago, we've seen each other around the industry on the conference circuit and whatnot. And of course, I'd known him by reputation, the CEO and founder of Nova Gold, former CEO of Trilogy, a name synonymous with success and with Alaska, with high-grade precious metals. When we started looking at the two companies, and for me, when I look at the space, and if you're an investor and you're seeking exposure to a producing, high-grade, safe jurisdiction company, there's really only one choice today, which is Hecla Mining. The business combination, creating North America's next high-grade precious metals producer, we now have two entries into that category. There's Hecla and there's the new Contango Silver and Gold. Now, from a capital markets perspective, you're going to have $10 million of liquidity. When these two companies come together, there's a shareholder vote coming in February. When the two companies merge in March, we anticipate as much as $50 million of buying from ETFs and indices. Size matters in our business. And, we have a combination of 9 analysts that are going to cover us. And what's really interesting is, as Contango was building and as Dolly Varden was building, both companies have done a really good job securing capital, moving their projects along, growing, attracting strategic investors, corporates, and institutions. But what's really interesting is there's no crossover. So there's lots of synergies from the standpoint of location, grade, but management skill set. And as Rick alluded to a little bit earlier, having the $100 million on the balance sheet, having the $100 million of cash flow, we have got production, we've got the development pipeline, we've got the growth engine, which is the exploration, and we've come up with a plan to methodically move each and every project through that pipeline. And I'm really excited about the platform we're going to have and what other deals in the future will be able to execute.
Yeah. So to follow up on that, and this is really to both of you, I was very familiar with Contango ORE's business model, if you would, and what really inspired me was just the path to producing and permitting and producing. It was almost turnkey, if you would. Shawn, actually, you address that. You mentioned that, is that going to be implemented with the new assets? And then also talk a little bit about what one of the things was, I guess, exciting to me was this volume of metal, for lack of a better word, that Dolly Varden has. But I guess the question was always, what's the path to production, if you would? So you could talk about that with Contango ORE. I think those were the two biggest questions I always had.
So the hardest thing to do is to put the metal in the ground, right? It's the toughest thing, and it's why, often when companies are going out, they're having to pay wild premiums to take out other companies. And we've done the hard part at Dolly Varden, right? Building a company during a bear market and applying some really good science and being good stewards of capital. We've identified a large high-grade mineral inventory that's quite unique. It's primary silver, it's in a safe jurisdiction. My biggest fear, Andy, was to be stranded or orphaned, right? If you don't hit the right market cycle, your project gets left behind and doesn't get built. And so I think leveraging the well-funded balance sheet of Contango, the operational expertise, and this DSO model, we're going to daylight these ounces this cycle. And there are a number of processing facilities that are underutilized that Rick is aware of, and we're looking at exploring in the future.
Got it. Rick, if you could answer this, and I'm a very happy investor for the record in Contango ORE, but if there was a fly in the ointment, if you would, it was size, if you would. And my question was always, okay, what's the next play for Contango ORE? I know you had Lucky Strike coming online, if you would. But as always, I want more, if you would. I'm assuming that solves, this is an assumption, but I want you to answer, that solves that concern or that problem, correct?
Yeah, no, exactly. And, we've talked about it that, Manh Choh's a great mine. But it's a little mine. It's not a big mine in terms of, it doesn't have a 20-year mine life. It had a 5-year mine life. And I think we can probably add a year or two onto that. So, I'm comfortable we'll probably be, still in production in 2029, 2030. But this, I used to say we had a great 5-year plan. Now I'm saying we have a great 20-year business. And that's what, to me, the merger really brings. It's We still have a missing ingredient of where we're going to process the ores, but as Shawn alluded to, we're working on that. And what I can say comfortably is that, Johnson Tract, fantastic ore body, high grade, big fat, averages, 30 meters wide. It's just a beautiful ore body. But you can only mine an underground mine at a certain rate. You can't, it's going to operate at sort of 12 to 1,500 tons a day. But if we've got a 2,500 ton a day mill, it's still only half full. Well, now we don't have a half mill anymore. That's basically what we're building here. And there's lots of exploration upside at Johnson Tract. There's lots of exploration upside at Kitsault Valley. So if you look at our timeline, and I urge you to go to our landing page for the merger, which is, I think, on both of our websites.
I'll link to it.
In the slide deck there's a slide that just outlines sort of the advancement of the 4 different projects, and I like to refer to them as 4 different districts because they're basically all districts. That we can, we don't have to rob Peter to pay Paul here. We don't have to put one project on hold. They're all nicely sequenced. Starting with Lucky Shot, it's fully permitted. We're underground drilling 18,000 meters of drilling now. We'll knock that out this before the end of next year, and we'll get a feasibility study done that we're anticipating will start up 30,000-40,000 ounces of gold and then ramp up to 50,000-60,000. We know the veins there. We know it's produced 250,000 ounces at very high grades, and so it's just got to go execute now. And this is what I love about this story is we have the money to execute, we have the team to execute, and we sure as hell have a gold and silver price to execute. So, I think, like I said, I think we're building a rocket ship here, and I'm very excited.
Excellent. Shawn, let me go to you and we'll end on this. Really, one of the most impressive things I thought about yourself and Dolly Varden was just your ability to paint a vision for investors, if you would, and give that vision and then really deliver on assets and finding those assets. And also raising a ton of money, a war chest of money for all those of us in junior mining, how critical, if not most critical, that is. Comment just really about that, the expectation really coming into the company and that skill set and resource that you have. I'm assuming as a shareholder of Contango ORE, I say this selfishly, but I'm getting that now. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think what Dolly Varden has done very well, and we've got a team, and we work within an organization. It's Frank Justra's Fiore Group, and Frank's been employing the buy and build strategy. It's a strategy that's synonymous with liquidity. Liquidity is the oxygen of the market. And, I work really hard at going around the world and sharing the value proposition with precious metals investors. And what I've found over the last couple of years is there's new funds. I was just over in Switzerland. There's new funds being born every day, domiciled in places like Zug. We hosted a webinar yesterday where we had probably about 1,000 participants, and the joke was, we didn't have a viewer from Antarctica yet. We really had a broad distribution from Australia, Southeast Asia, Europe, South America, and so look. What's brought me success in my career is working with serially successful entrepreneurs like Frank Justra, like Rick, and Rick's got the plan, the team, the asset base. Bringing in the silver from Dolly Varden is going to give the Contango shareholders exposure to a metal that is finally getting some price discovery. And what we're really excited about there is a new 43-101 that we're going to deliver, where we anticipate the Kitsault Valley mineral resource estimate to increase by 50% on the silver side. So it's a silver company with gold production and a lot of gold in the ground, high grades in the north. And I'm really excited, the chemistry that Rick and I have and that the teams have and the complementary asset base and then the larger platform. We're in a market right now, Andy, where 60% of the money out there is run passively, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, volume gets volume, and so much is based on momentum and technical analysis. And so that's going to drive a lot of capital into this new pro forma company. And our ambition, and this is a bold one, we're launching at about $1 billion valuation on merge, but we want to grow. And the ultimate goal here is to get into some of the big indexes and build a multi-billion-dollar business.
Excellent. Shawn, if people want to read more about this, how do they find Dolly Varden? Give me your link to your website, as well as give me the platforms that you're traded on and your ticker symbols.
So you can find us at dollyvardensilver.com. We're active on all the social media platforms, DVS on the NYSE, DV in Canada. Yeah, check out our website, check out our social media. And just again, thank you for having me on. I'll turn it over to Rick to probably give those same coordinates.
Yeah, Rick, please, if people want to know more about Contango ORE, how do they give me your website? How do they buy you? How do they trade you?
Yeah, so we're NYSE American listed and symbol CTGO, and our website is contangoore.com. And when you write that out, there's two O's next to each other, but that is correct. So, and there's an info at button in there. If you have questions, just submit them there and we will definitely get back to you.
Let me end with, oh, thank you, Rick. Thank you, Shawn. Let me just end to all my viewers and listeners. Full disclosure, Contango ORE is a sponsor of Natural Resource Stocks. I am an investor. I am very friendly with Rick off camera. We've had dinner, lunches, all of that together. I talk to him monthly, and I see him when he's in town, just so everybody knows. Full disclosure, I'm also friendly with Shawn. I have traded in and out for a lot of different reasons. I've always loved what they've had in the ground. I've always loved the company, if you would. But full disclosure on all of that. So, gentlemen, I want to thank you very much for your time. I'm really excited about the future for all of us, because I'm a shareholder. Really excited about the value that you're presenting, and I've been getting really, really positive feedback on this as my phone's been blowing up. Want to wish you well. Thank you so much. Really good seeing you both.
Thanks, Andy.
Thank
Good
you,
to see
Andy.
you. Take
Good
care.
to see you. Bye bye.